2024 spells and how they've changed and what they're saying they've done to make this what I think is going to be a better experience for spellcasters and for DMs like myself. So first of all, they've expanded the spell list. So there's at least 30 more spells in 2014 Player's Handbook. Now with the supplements and stuff that we had after the 2014 handbook, there's going to be more spells, but they've left room for expansion, and that's fine. There's functional upgrades to the spells. So many of the spells have received buffs to increase damage, extended range, or concentration requirements. And what I take that to mean is some of the spells that were concentration don't have those concentration requirements again, because if you have played a spellcaster, you know the pain of finding many concentration spells that you want and realizing that all the spells on your spell list that you want are concentration spells, and it just doesn't work out. So you have to give up some of your favorite concentration spells because you just really can't have that many going on at once. There's improved clarity with the spells, the descriptions in the book of the spells, which would really help. I think, there are many times in my games where the game is ground to halt as we've sat around for 10-15 minutes to discuss the exact verbiage of what a spell meant. Like, for instance, and one for us that came up not that long ago was Flaming Sphere. And, it says that any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere must make a dexterity saving throw. So, yeah, that means that, okay, so you mean to tell me that the sphere can be right next to somebody and at the end of its turn, right? Like a creature has to be within 5 feet. So, okay, they take damage, but then the creature can just walk through the sphere or go through the sphere or something like that and not take damage. That makes no sense to me. So it's, there's a lot of different clarity issues with that I hope they fix. So thing that they've done is the new summoning spells and as well as the new conjuring spells, they put stat blocks directly in the spells of stuff you can conjure. So no more having to go back and to reference the monster manual for different summonings or conjures. And they've also revamped and reduced the complexity of those spells. Great. Love it. Healing spells. They say they've upgraded and increased their effectiveness and to encourage their use during gameplay and combat. Fabulous. I love it because, oftentimes there is a debate about whether I use my action to attack the creature, to attack the enemy, or if I try to use my healing spell to revive my compatriot and they can attack the enemy and hopefully kill it. And hopefully they've made that easier and encourage, the healers to actually use that more and not feeling like they're missing out on combat. They revived cantrips. They have new cantrips and they revived old ones. Guidance for instance, for one instance that they gave is a concentration spell where you pick an ability that it enhances, and then for as long as you concentrate, that player would get the guidance bonus to their rolls for any checks using that ability. I mean, cool. Yeah. I mean, guidance is a thing where it's like in every game I've ever been to, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, guidance. And then somebody just says guidance and we cast it because it's cantrip and it's free action. But fine, that's great. I think that's cooler sort of flavor, which I'll get into a little bit more later. They've made it easier to deploy spells when you're a DM and guidance for how spells can be used to make it easier for the DM. Because it's not just players that are casting spells too, it's us DMs that have been casting spells, that are casting spells as well. And, it's good to have some guidance on where we want, how we could implement some of these spells sometimes against our players. Because I want my combat challenges to be challenging. And I want them also to fit the monster type that they're fighting or the enemy that they're fighting. So if it's a high intelligent monster, I want that enemy to use high intelligence tactics, in combat. And if it's a low intelligence monster, they're going to do dumb stuff. They're going to just walk straight into the line of fire or whatever because they're dumb. But yeah, more guidance on spells, great. Always appreciate it. They've made some flavor and fun changes to spells, just with new mechanics and different kind of things. Like they mentioned specifically chromatic orb and cloud of daggers. Chromatic orb not only still lets you choose the type of damage, but now it can bounce, so it can hit other things as well. And Cloud of Daggers now lets you move it, which is awesome. I love it because before nobody really picked it because it didn't move. It was one of those things where okay, well they just walk, the enemy just walks out of the Cloud of Daggers, and then Cloud of Daggers is just swirling thing of daggers is just sitting there, and nobody's going within that radius, and it was fun. Weird. Uh, Produce flame, for instance. Uh, they've simplified that and actually made it easier to they've changed the economy of that to make it easier to actually sort of set up and do in the same combat round. So I don't have to have it in my hand, set up, ready to go. And then that's one action to cast it, and then that's another action to actually shoot it from my hand. I'm not going to use it then because I just don't have that. It's like as a player, I'm going to not use things that take 2 rounds basically set up. 2 rounds is a long time in a combat encounter. People don't realize how long that is, but like I don't know. I can't speak for every DM, but it's been rare that I have a combat encounter and that I'm DMing go over 5 rounds. I mean, it's pretty rare, and so 2 rounds is an eternity in that. So that'll be great changes. The other big change that's talked about is they've produced a lot of artwork so you can better visualize these spells. Um, you know, great. I love it. I mean, it helps. I use that a lot when I DM. I use a lot of pictures to help sort of paint the scene, to give their imagination a jumping off point, if you will, so they can more immerse themselves in the world of their characters. And so more artwork only helps with that, and that's great. We love it. And I've never been really disappointed with D&D artwork before. I've grown up with all of it from first edition all the way up now to fifth edition, and I've never really had a problem with D&D artwork. And so, but more of it is always better, and a better visualization of some of these spells. Perfect. Love it. So that's kind of it, the really brief summary of the 2024 new spells. I'm excited to get my hands on the player's handbook and actually see where this goes. Hopefully this will really streamline the process for me as a DM playing spellcasting enemies and the players playing spellcasting player characters, to really sort of streamline their economy, to streamline the whole process, because that is always it's always been sort of a complaint of mine that lots of spellcasters and stuff like that, the sort of the rounds they start to crawl because of that, because players are looking up their spells, I'm looking up my spells as enemies, trying to figure out what I can do, and anything that sort of helps that and make that easier from both my perspective and the player's perspective, and speeds up the rounds of combat when there's lots of spell casting going on, is a good thing, because it just makes it more exciting to play. And I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. So hopefully 2024 rules don't disappoint with that. Anyway, like and subscribe, please. I appreciate it. And I'll have information in my bio that you can check out for finding my games on startplaying.games. I don't currently have any games hosted, but I will soon. And so you can, but you can always go there and look to see what games I am hosting. That's going to change regularly. Depends on when you look at this video. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for listening to me. And my name is David White, Evil Penguin Gaming, and I will talk to you later. Thank you.